Update 2, my crazy girlfriend of 4 years randomly claimed that I assaulted her, then called the police. This came totally out of the blue. I spoke to my girlfriend in person after I posted my update. From her perspective, her original idea was to make it look like she just got mad or something, grabbed a few things, and left to her friend's house, where she was going to have the party thrown. Her friend has a really nice house that's perfect for a 20 to 30 person get-together. She was with her 2 friends, and made an off-the-cuff remark when her friend said, "What are you going to say when he asks why?" And she said, "I don't know, I'll probably tell him that I feel like he got too serious when we had intimacy, or something like that." Then her other friend who was with her immediately took it to social media without the other 2 girls knowing, and then when they checked their phones later on that day, it was already a dumpster fire. I said, "Great, all that is understandable. Just one question, why did you then block me and then refuse to answer my calls, because that seemed pretty effing intentional to me." She said because she didn't want to throw her idiot friend under the bus, and thought it would all go away if she just threw the party, and she hadn't realized how far it all went so quickly. I thanked her for telling me, and then I called off the wedding entirely. She cried, I cried, it was a goddamn mess. She asked where we were going from here. I told her I don't know. I don't even know if the relationship is over yet, but I know that the engagement is over, and that if I decide to give it another chance, at the bare minimum, we need to build my trust for her from the ground up, if not the entire relationship. And now I have to decide if I want that. Do I want to spend another 4 years being undecided? If I'm being honest with myself, I imagine it taking another couple of years before I can trust her again. I told her that I have a lot to think about. I spoke to her dad last night. We shared a case of beers and had a conversation that lasted about 5 hours. My girlfriend hasn't spoken to anyone, and has basically been locked up in her old bedroom for now. She's been crying a lot. I do believe that she's genuinely remorseful about all of this, which complicates things. Her dad caught wind of the situation on Facebook but learned what was really going on maybe like an hour later. He'd gotten my calls, but hadn't returned them because he called his daughter first. She told him, and he just didn't know what to say to her. He told me that she's not truly stupid, but that she has a history of sometimes not thinking about things before she says them, and the impact her offhand remarks can have. He said this is the worst it's ever snowballed, but she's had situations in the past where she says something stupid or insulting, and doesn't realize the impact of what she said until hours later when the other person blows up over it. As for my reputation, nobody thinks I'm an abuser. It's firmly out there now. Her reputation took a much more significant and lasting hit. I haven't lost any friends, except for the idiot social media girl. My ex-fiancée of 8 years broke up with me via text then ghosted me. She's now joined my friend group because I'm dating one of her friends. My ex Jess and I were together for 8 years and engaged for 3 of them. I fully expected to marry her, and spend the rest of my life with her. Well, in early 2016 her job offered her an amazing opportunity to temporarily work 4 months in the company's satellite office in New Zealand to temporarily manage and lead a new team. It was very sudden, and I was not really happy with the idea, but she really wanted this chance and opportunity. So off she went. We decided to stick together throughout this time frame of course. I flew out to visit her after 2 months. However, when I arrived at the airport, I got a text message from Jess. The message was short and more or less consisted of, she was sorry but she has met a new man in New Zealand who she loves more, and she thinks it would be best if we went our separate ways from now on. She then completely blocked me on every single social media as well as my phone number. I was confused, devastated and became an absolute wreck. I remember completely breaking down in the airport. I spent the next 4 days living at a motel basically trying to get into contact with her in any shape or form. She had apparently blocked everyone in our circle of friends. Even Jess's close friends from our circle of friends were shocked, confused and basically lost. Even her parents were extremely confused when I called them. Her dad, who I was extremely close with, refused to believe it at first. I was a mess for a solid year, but my close circle of friends managed to drag me out of my hellish hole along with some therapy. Her best friends became close friends with me. About a year ago, she invited some of her old close friends to her wedding with a new man. No one went, and I quickly found out about the wedding, which hurt me even more. Well, over a year ago, I started dating one of her old friends as me and her had gotten close over the last 2 years. She felt quite hurt when my ex basically ghosted her. Unfortunately there was some awkwardness because she knew I was not fully over my ex, but she has been a supportive and amazing person and I am extremely happy with her. Life was going great for me. Then in December, Jessica apparently moved back home after divorcing her husband because he apparently was physically abusive. Now, she is making this hugely concentrated effort to reconnect with people in our friend group, which is resulting in some very conflicted feelings for some people. Last week I found out that Jessica and some of my friends have started playing D&D, which frankly made me feel like crap. Part of me just wants to move on from this but I am struggling hard. While my girlfriend has been extremely supportive, I just feel numb and don't really know what to do. Today Jessica sent me a long Facebook message basically apologizing to me for what she did, and asked to be friends. I have not responded yet, but I'm very puzzled on how to proceed. What bad situations have you unintentionally plunged someone else into? It was early in the morning, around 6 a.m. usually. I'm too tired at this point to eat, and I can't bring myself to do so, if that makes any sense. Instead I decided to just take a big cup of coffee in the hopes of waking me up, grab and swallow my meds with a sip of coffee, hop in the car, and I was off to high school. Fast forward about 40 minutes, and now I'm sitting in my guitar class, the first class of the day. I'm setting up my equipment, when suddenly there's that slight gnawing in my gut, that knowing growl foretelling what will come. It's at this moment I start immediately regretting my earlier decisions, and realizing the witch's brew I have unwittingly made. I coolly and collectively walk over to the bathroom, trying to hide the sudden urgency welling up inside of me. A few cheek-clenching moments later, I arrive at Shoddy Shit Shack, and proceed to deliver my load. As it turns out, coffee, medicine, empty stomach, full out backdoor fallout, like a super soaker of poop, a mud pie monsoon. The scent was uncomfortably familiar, but I couldn't put my finger on it, nor did I want to because I wanted out. I wanted to wipe up and leave this mess behind, and any association I could possibly have if I linger too long and someone else approaches the only bathroom in this building. Thankfully, it's one of the one-wipers, so evacuation was seamless, and all seemed to go smoothly as I approached my seat in the class, next to the band teacher. Bowels at ease, and understandably hungry now, I rested in my chair. I eyed my band teacher as he rose from his chair and tried to make out where he was going off to. Oh God, I thought as he turned lazily towards the bathroom. He'll never make it not one step into the bathroom until he lurched over, one hand at his mouth, the other at his stomach, and he turned away to face the rest of the classroom, removing his hand long enough to exclaim, "Jesus Christ, who took the baby poop?" Not only had I forgotten to flush the great mighty poo, but the stench had lingered longer than anticipated, and seemingly grew in intensity, as I could now smell it from my seat, and seeing how my teacher had reacted, I somehow found it incredibly hilarious, and went from a nice poker face to just doubling over in laughter, almost crying from the spasms. It was then my teacher grabbed at his stomach again, rushed into the room, and vomited only in what I would assume was the mess I left behind in that stall, given the few other options he had for barfing. And even then, the laughing didn't stop for me. I was the only one laughing insanely at that one statement in a now silent band room, removing all doubt as to who had caused such an atrocity.